let's start with what happened with the Milwaukee Bucks and the Indiana Pacers together, two teams that plain don't like each other. So obviously Myles Turner no longer being with the Pacers and going to the Bucks, and the way that they opened the purse strings for him, and also for Lillard to just be sent packing was really shocking. Sam, you want to tackle this however you wish, the genesis of it and the way it all played out?
Yeah, I mean, to me, the genesis, Rich, is not to go too macro, but John Horst is a guy, the Bucks GM, who came up through the Pistons organization initially, moves over to the Bucks and rises through the ranks and becomes their GM eventually. But along the way, when Giannis is 18 and coming to town, from Greece, and we all know that incredible story, John is one of the main people kind of bringing him into America, literally helping him to learn how to drive. And I highlight all of that because it's like you have this deep personal connection where John is very committed to not losing Giannis Antetokounmpo. And now for three, consecutive times in very different ways, he has doubled down and tripled down on bold, daring, risky moves to convince Giannis not to leave. The first one was going out and getting Drew Holiday. That paid off. That was the 2021 championship. When that seemed a little bit stale, when Giannis was getting antsy and sending signals that maybe he would think about going elsewhere, then the blockbuster move with Damian Lillard. That didn't work out like they'd hoped, but it did show Giannis that, we are not messing around here. We're going to try to do big things. This one, though, we all thought they were completely stuck. Dame's Achilles tear combined with his contract just was brutal, because even going into the summer before his injury, we've reported this, they were going to talk to Dame about whether or not he still wanted to be in Milwaukee. And one of their avenues out of their latest kind of morass was going to be trading Damian Lillard for the next guy. And Dame was likely going to be fine with that as long as he went somewhere that he was happy with, because he at times was struggling in Milwaukee off the court. He was far from his kids, all these things. So they do it again. They go after Myles Turner. They owe Dame $113 million, I think it is.
Mm-hmm.
That gets stretched over 5 years for the Bucks. That's dead money, around almost 25 a year on their books. But Myles Turner comes their way. They get to replace Brook Lopez with a guy who's 8 years younger and who does a lot of the same stuff at a higher level. So it's about as daring and drastic as it gets, and we'll see how Giannis feels about it in the end.
Well, I mean, the fact that Giannis was, it's crazy, man. God bless you and what you do for a living in the NBA and all your colleagues who follow it. I mean, we go to social media, right? Like for a window into somebody's soul and their thought process, and his, post of Brook Lopez in the championship locker room and him wondering what's going on with his post. And then we find out that he's upset about Lillard no longer being there. And the question I have is it a roster concern, or just he didn't like the way, as Chris Haynes, your colleague, reported, that maybe Lillard found out like how we all did when it became public, and that's what Giannis was upset with. What's your 2 cents on the Giannis thoughts, Sam?
So, I mean, your social media point is on point. It is hilarious. That Brook Lopez picture that Giannis put out, that came right after they lost Brook. And it's the subtitle you can see is, "I don't know what's going on right now, man." And it's funny, but telling and insightful. But then obviously, like we said, they replaced Brook. We have not got another social media post to indicate how Giannis feels about Myles Turner. I have not confirmed that Giannis is unhappy. If I'm being honest with you, knowing Giannis fairly well, I feel like that might be just political messaging because he loves Dame and wants to make sure that Dame feels supported. I did report in depth yesterday that Dame is not upset. He is elated. And the funniest thing is, to go back to your social media point, Rich, even our jobs are strange. So I write that Dame is elated, very, very, very good source on that in terms of knowing where his head is at, and highlighted the fact that he's going to get paid the same amount of money the next 2 years. He can literally pick his spot. If he wants to, he can sign a minimum deal with any contender. That is a hell of a place to be in when you're in your mid-30s and you've never won a championship. But then I look at Instagram this morning, and Dame shared a video that had all of that reporting. So you do kind of go, all right, clearly we're good. You know, he's endorsing these ideas. But as it relates to Giannis, I think, okay, the Dame thing is now settled, that he's happy, he's going to be on his way. I don't know exactly where Giannis is at. I do think basketball-wise, I see what the Bucks are thinking here, and I see, if you're them, why you feel like, listen, even before they got Myles Turner, because of the Tyrese Halliburton injury and the way that it devastated the Pacers, because of the Jason Tatum injury and what it did to the Celtics and all the trades since then, the Cavs coming up short, the Knicks firing Tom Thibodeau, all these East contenders that were seemingly in the Bucks' way had taken a major step down. If you were the Bucks, even before you get Myles Turner, you're looking at Giannis going, all right, where exactly are you going, at least in the East, where you think you're in a better place to at least be in the mix? Because you alluded to it earlier, the Bucks and Pacers rivalry was such that you already kind of knew that if Giannis is watching those finals, he's sitting there thinking, man, you got to be kidding me. Like, we're better than this team. You know what I mean? Like, there's just no way that he was scared of that Pacers team. And now that Pacers team doesn't exist. So not only could you sell him on the deteriorated East, now you can sell him on, hey, guess what we did? We went and we actually stole from the Pacers, and we got one of their main guys, and we think that you should rock with him. But again, we're going to have to see how Giannis moves in the next couple of weeks.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show live weekdays from 12 to 3 p.m. Eastern on Roku Sports Channel in the U.S.